Even though I'm one of these people, I wanted to find out why people keep animals that could potentially kill them.
Things can go wrong very quickly, so don't do it for you, do it for the animals, I guess. They're not toys.
What inspired you to start keeping venomous snakes?
So ever since I was a child, I've always been interested in the creepy crawlies, lizards, snakes, geckos, frogs, all those kinds of things. And I think as I grew older, the fascination with venomous snakes began with, I could relate to them very much in a sense of being misunderstood. My choice of venomous snakes, the vipers, they come in all sorts of bright colors and things like that. That's something that piques my attention as well. But yeah, the fact that they're misunderstood, their intelligence, the science behind their venom and all that type of stuff, how they work, how they live differently.
Definitely agree. There's more to them. If you want that affection from a pet per se, that's why I'm very careful how I word things like, venomous snakes as pets. I don't personally see them as pets.
No.
What would you say?
Yeah, also I don't see them as pets. For me, they are, like I said, display animals. And for me, coming into my snake room, I'll much rather come in here, sit in silence and just watch the animals. Especially later on in the day when they start becoming active. It brings me a sense of peace and calm. Instead of coming home from work and going and watching TV, I'll much rather come in here and just sit and watch all the animals. It brings me a sense of peace and calm from day-to-day life.
Now, why do people keep venomous snakes? Perhaps it's just pushing the boundaries. And perhaps it's purely passion.
Hey, there we go. Just watering your plants that you keep destroying.
The reason I do it is quite simple, really. It's to show my passion and share my love for these animals so that perhaps you can find it in your heart to end up loving these creatures that are generally unloved. But I do know that there can be a very egotistical mindset and a way in which people do it incorrectly. Have you ever had any dangerous encounters with one of your snakes?
I have. I have taken 2 bites. There's an age-old cliche that many people have told me is that there's 2 types of venomous snake keepers, those that have been bitten and those that will be bitten. I went for 17 years believing that I would never be bitten because I was too careful, and I was for the most part. But then I got complacent and I ignored my own protocols, which led to both my bites. It is my own fault that I did get bitten, but it is a risk that we take doing what we do, unfortunately. But it's not going to change my opinion of them or make me want to stop doing what I do. I mean, if I get in a car accident, I'm not going to stop driving a car. You know what I mean? It comes with the territory in a sense.
But do you also agree that you don't necessarily have to be bitten and that, because like you were saying,
yeah,
you knew that it was your own protocols that led up to the...
Exactly, and I mean, 99% of the time, it is something that can be avoided. For me, I've got protocols in place where if I'm sick, if I'm on medication, if I'm not focused, if I'm emotional, if I'm angry, I don't work with the snakes because I'm not focused. And both times I got bitten were days where I wasn't quite up to it and I knew I shouldn't have been in here, but I chose to do it anyway. And both times ended the same way.
That sucks.
Yeah, no, it does.
So how do you see venomous snakes differently to most people?
Again, I think they're misunderstood. Obviously, I understand them a lot better than most people do, where there's certain subjects other people understand a lot more than I do. A big thing for me is a lot of people they're scared of snakes, or for lack of a better word, yeah, they're scared of snakes because they're aggressive. I don't see snakes as aggressive, I see them as defensive. And I mean, I'd also be defensive if I had no arms or legs and somebody backed me into a corner and the only way to defend myself would be to strike out.
So it's essentially they're misunderstood. And what do you think is the barrier that is the issue why people don't learn more about them?
I think it's the stigma that's around it that's been created with stereotypes, you know what I mean? Whereas a lot of people will believe something just because everyone else believes it, instead of actually diving into it and learning about it, which is understandable as well, because not everyone likes the same things. So
essentially they're parroting information that gets told from generation to generation, like, oh, snakes are evil creatures that try and kill you and that sort of thing.
exactly, yeah.
So some might say it's irresponsible to keep deadly animals in a capacity like yourself and myself. What is your response to that?
It's a very touchy subject in a way. Lots of people have different things that they enjoy. I mean, for me, getting on a motorbike and driving 300 kilometers down the highway is also very reckless. But
Okay, so what we are doing now is determining whether these blue insularis are males or females. This is called sexing snakes, and this is called a tube, where we'll safely secure the snake so we don't have to stress it out by necking it. And then you determine whether they're males or females by sticking one of these things called a probe in their cloaca, and if it goes down quite a few scales, it's a boy, and if it's not many scales, it's a girl. Yeah, I'd say there's a boy already by looking. Do you want a probe to make sure?
I think that there are responsible ways of doing things and irresponsible ways of doing things, and there are ways of doing it which I consider that I do things safely, where they're not toys. They're there to be admired and to be looked at as display animals, in a sense. But if you're going to take them out and be playing with them like they are toys, then I would classify that as irresponsible.
I've seen many newbies come and go because the idea is thrilling and maybe they have an egotistical mindset, but they always seem to wither away.
And I honestly don't know how to put into words why I enjoy it.
Yeah.
People keep dogs, love dogs. People breed koi fish. I don't know. It's just, I love it. And like I say, it's my quiet thing. I don't need to broadcast what I'm doing.
Do you feel there's an ethical line when it comes to keeping venomous animals in captivity?
I wouldn't say ethical. I suppose it depends on who you ask. There are those that say it is ethical. There are those that say it isn't. For me, I think it is fairly ethical because all my animals were born in captivity, so they don't know anything else. And this is for my own enjoyment, and it's not for the public to come in and see and do and push at the glass and do all sorts of funny things.
What would you say is some of the ethical justifications for keeping venomous animals in captivity? Is it just because we want to and we can? Is that a good enough reason, or?
Look, I think that should be a good enough reason. I think the way people attack the venomous hobby is due to ignorance. I mean, there are far worse things in the world that people could be focusing on getting rid of or anything like that. But yeah, it's a very tough one. It's especially with the way the world is today, things that are changing in lots of ways.
Almost got to be careful what you're going to say, because
exactly
scared of how other people are going to respond to anything you say or any opinion you have.
Exactly, and things get taken out of context to suit certain people's agendas or certain organizations' agendas and things like that. And I mean, for me, what I do in my snake room doesn't affect anybody else in the world, so I'm not hurting or harming anyone by choosing to keep what I keep and do what I do.
I'm obsessed, but some people are obsessed in a weird way. I'm also obsessed in a weird way, just to clarify. But those who are obsessed can go really far. But obsession can also be detrimental when you don't know who you are, because then you identify in that you have and that you do rather than that you are.
cool snakes, very super cool snakes, and also very alert. Eh?
I mean, it's
Also-
a blue snake. Who doesn't love
Exactly.
blue snakes?
And that was the thing. First time I saw a picture of one, it's like, what? It's blue.
How does that?
Is it a color thing? Is it a lighting thing? Is it And yeah, they're stunning. It's in real life absolutely awesome. I love them.
What are some of the benefits that you've personally experienced from keeping venomous animals, like for yourself? Are there psychological, physical benefits that you receive from it?
For me, I think there are many psychological aspects. Like I mentioned earlier, they bring me peace. This is my happy place and my safe space from the day-to-day stresses in the world. And I mean, if I come in here and just sit and watch the snakes, I feel calm, I feel peaceful. I don't think about the issues I have at work or all the politics going around in the world. It's an escape for me, and definitely for me, I'm a recovering drug addict that's been sober for 13 years, so this, for me, it's something to be proud of, it's something to admire. I love the rainforest and animals and nature, but it's not very practical for me to be in the rainforest and nature all the time, so I've sort of created my own little oasis at home.
That's powerful. I think not many people realize that this is essentially bringing nature's peace and nature's purity into something in your everyday life. Because of work and logistics, you can't live out in the middle of the rainforest.
Exactly. I mean, if I could, I would be doing that, but it's not very practical.
Definitely not. What levels of expertise or training do you think someone should have before owning a venomous animal?
Look, I think so. You get your snake handling courses and snake bite treatment courses. I definitely think those are good tools to have. But if someone has done one handling course and now they're a qualified snake handler, I don't necessarily agree with that. For me, I think the best way to start is by finding someone who will be able to mentor you, help you clean their cages, help you feed their snakes. As I said earlier, it's not about taking the snakes out and playing with them like they're toys. At that stage, once you and your mentor are both comfortable, then I'd say you'd be ready to keep your own venomous snakes.
How do you ensure the safety of yourself and those around you?
So nobody else comes into my snake room without me. If I'm not in this room, it's locked at all times. And I don't take chances anymore. Like I said, with my protocols, if I'm sick, if I'm emotional, if I'm tired, I don't come in here. The snakes can wait till tomorrow. You know what I mean? Things like that. I do have bite protocols in place for each species that I keep, which will come with me to the hospital so the doctors know what to do. I do have a few snake bite specialists on call who are listed in those protocols that the doctors need to notify immediately. And the protocols aren't just for me to take with the hospital, but if I'm unconscious or something, then at least someone else who's with me knows what needs to be done and who needs to be contacted.
Do you see a connection between keeping these animals and conservation efforts?
I do, definitely. If you look at a lot of zoos and private facilities around the world, there's a lot of reptiles that would be extinct by now if it wasn't for their breeding efforts. Habitat destruction for me is why a lot of these species are disappearing and going extinct. And if it wasn't for the captive breeding of many different animals, a lot of things wouldn't be around today anymore.
What are the concerns and questions you get from family or friends who don't understand why you keep something that's potentially deadly?
A lot of the most common reaction I probably get is, "Oh no, sis, how can you do that? Like, that's disgusting. Snakes are creepy." That's generally the biggest, most common reaction I get. Some people do respect it and appreciate it as well. But again, that's why it's for me. I do it for me. It's not for... If people come visit and they're not really interested in snakes, they don't have to see my snakes. I'm not going to force it on them. I'm not going to also offer to show anyone unless it's something they want to see. it's an ever-evolving thing. I mean, there's no such thing as, oh, I know it all and now I've learned everything. There's nothing more to learn. I think as soon as you develop that mentality, then you're going backwards, and then you need a bit of a wake-up call.
Why did you start?
Yeah, for me, it's a case of with venomous snakes being misunderstood, I think, and that's something I could relate to very much. That was generally my big motivator. I've always felt I can relate a lot more to animals than I can to humans. So, yeah, and venomous snakes just... I started off with keeping non-venomous, but obviously through the years, my interests and things that piqued my mind changed. And with the venomous stuff, there's a lot to learn, and it's very interesting and rewarding for me to see and learn about all these different things. I think you need to just question your motives and ask yourself, why are you doing it? If you're doing it for the likes and the views and the status and the image, then you're looking for trouble. But if your motives and intentions are pure and for you, for lack of a better word, then I don't see why not.
So, from my point of view, I don't know. I don't think it's the venom aspect that attracts me. I don't think so. It's difficult. I don't know what to say. It's the animal, the look of the animal. I love the arboreal stuff. I love the fact that they're not that big. You can keep them in a nice display cage. They're super chilled. You can always see them. You know, you get your substrate animals that burrow. You never see the things.
Yes.
You know, these guys has got a visual appeal for them. For me, that's how I see them. But I don't believe that it's the fact that it's venomous that is my attraction. I don't know.
Yeah, whether that's like their scales, their body.
Just the look, you know, it's paging through a book as a kid and all of it, wow, that stands out to me. You know,
it
wow,
just happens to be
that stands out. That was the attraction, was the look of the animal first. And then obviously later on comes with the understanding when you do a bit of research on it, and you know, then you figure out, okay, it's venomous, and you know, and I always say to people, don't keep venomous. I had a guy here yesterday. Don't get into it.
Yeah.
You know, don't keep venomous. Don't do what I do. Do what I say. Don't keep venomous. But they're awesome. I absolutely love them. Obviously, the fact that they're venomous, we've got to be careful.
What are some of the challenges of keeping?
Time, and I mean, I think a lot of people think it's a novelty. Oh, check these snakes that I've got, and I mean, it's not. It's a commitment. It's dedication. If you don't have the passion and the heart for it, you're not going to be able to do it properly for long term, because the amount of maintenance and time that needs to go into cleaning and feeding and cycling your animals properly and stuff like that, it's a lot of work. It's definitely a big commitment. Today, for instance, I've managed to just start getting back into my watering routine because our area hasn't had water for 3 days. It's frustrating having inconsistencies like that. It helps being able to add things like solar and borehole facilities, but those things are also expensive and take time.
And you've got to be careful of the whole hoarding, because that is a real issue.
Yes.
I've been there, I've done it. You know, it's just, you've got this animal, then all of a sudden that thing comes available. Oh, you want to get that one, and then you get that one. Then you realize, but I'm putting animals in tubs, and I don't have cages ready for them. You know, you've got to get out of that. Hopefully I'm been in it long enough now to, you know, get my setup right first, and then get the animal. They will always be there.
And make sure you do what you focus on, and your focus becomes the thing, and you don't confuse the thing with the quantity of the animals or whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, no, that's not the thing.
Yeah.
The thing is getting the animals and looking after them in a way that is enjoyable for me too, and it doesn't become another job that takes away from your joy of looking after the animals, because now you have 200 animals that you have to clean, and you don't feel like going there in the morning.
Absolutely.
Keep your main thing
Quality over quantity.
Yes.
You know, keep what you like. Don't keep what your buddy's got because he thinks it's cool.
Yes.
You know the attraction you have for an animal. Like the ball python guys. I mean, the ball pythons are unbelievable. Their colors are amazing. I'm just not into it. It's just not my thing. I don't have the space for it either. So that's a good thing.
Yes.
I can build bigger.
You've got what you want.
But my size of my room, it's been like a discipline thing for me. I don't want to go bigger than this.
Now, with keeping reptiles, there's a line between obsession and addiction. Sadly, many people become addicted to the idea of who has what rather than actually focusing on the love for the animal themselves. Do you personally have a tendency to do dangerous things?
I wouldn't say so. I've been keeping venomous snakes for just over 20 years. In that time, I've been bitten twice. Both times were my mistake from becoming too complacent. But I don't take my snakes out and hold them in front of my face for selfies and things like that. It's not necessary. That causes unnecessary stress on the animal and puts myself at risk. So personally, I wouldn't say I do.
Obviously, the fact that they're venomous, we've got to be careful.
Yeah.
You know.
So it's definitely not an ego trip for you.
No, I don't think so. I mean, nobody's going to admit that, but
Yes.
No, definitely not. None of my friends are into snakes. I never grew up with anybody that kept snakes. I was never exposed to people that had snakes, so it never was a thing for me. It was just
The beauty and the awe of the animal.
if I saw a snake or if somebody shouted snake, everybody ran. I ran towards it. You know, as a little kid, it's like, wow, just the fascination was there. So I don't know what the attraction is. It's just been an ingrown thing. You know, I think I've been born with it.
Is it egotistical for people to keep venomous snakes?
Again, I think it boils down to motive. There definitely are people who keep venomous snakes because of ego and likes and look how many views I got. But there are people that keep it that have nothing to do with those sorts of things. So I think at the end of the day, there again, it's personal preference. And why are you doing what you do?
So it's a very difficult question. I don't know if is the attraction venomous or is the attraction the snake? Yes. You know, I remember as a young kiddie looking through books, snake books and that, I don't think my realization at that time was venomous or non-venomous. It was the attraction of the animal,
Yes.
of the specific snake. I remember the first time I ever saw pictures of an eyelash viper. It was, wow, this is beautiful. Yeah, and same with the rhino vipers. It's stunning. But at that age, I don't think there was a comprehension of the fact that it was venomous or not. So
Yes.
from my point of view, I don't know. I don't think it's the venom aspect that attracts me. I don't think so.
What is one of the main attractions for keeping tropical species?
For me, it's the husbandry. I like my tropical rainforests and things like that. I'll much rather be there than in the desert or something. And again, with the boreal viper specifically, all the bright colors, the different patterns, things like that. That's what got me into the specific side of things.
Are rare snakes more attractive to you?
There are a number of rare snakes that I like, but at the same time, there are a number of common snakes that I also like and still keep.
Now, reptiles are not a collection. If you want to collect something, maybe start collecting coins. Like, some people might like to collect books. This is just one. My wife collects books. You could collect vintage cameras, like I do. But you cannot collect these things. Yes, snakes are beautiful, but they're not a collection, even though you may have many of them. How does your family feel about keeping venomous snakes?
Initially, I don't think they were too impressed, especially when I got bitten. But I think they've accepted the idea that I'm not going to change, and neither is my hobby and my passion for the animals. My mother specifically doesn't like it. She will never come in this room ever. She's got a serious phobia of snakes. My father, on the other hand, I think he doesn't have any interest in keeping or working with them, but when he does come visit, he definitely does. You can see the way he admires things and looks at things. He is definitely curious. You need to figure out at the end of the day what you enjoy, what you want to work with. And again, it's put your ego aside, and because I mean things can go wrong very quickly, so don't do it for you, do it for the animals, I guess. It's the best way I can think of saying it.
Awesome.